welcome to this edition of The Current Report, our weekly roundup of what's happening in the world of digital media. This week, we take a look at new innovations in programmatic advertising that may prove helpful in driving ad revenue to publishers small and large across North America. In recent years, the news media has had a tough time, with local publishers feeling the brunt of dwindling ad revenue, thanks to the changing economics of online news. Since 2004, the US has lost almost 1,800 newspapers, many in small, rural communities. But there are new attempts to build revenue models at scale that can help local media markets. One company that's seeing success is Nexstar Media Group, whose portfolio includes 200 owned or partner broadcast stations across the US. Meanwhile, in Canada, local media outlets are banding together to help build scale for advertisers. Well, our reporter Chris Brookclear has been looking into this story, and he joins me now. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Damien. Good to see you.
This seems like a spot of good news for local media outlets in North America. Can you tell us a bit more about how Nexstar is helping bring ad dollars to local media markets?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, Nexstar is not at all a small publisher, right? They're the largest local broadcaster in America, but they do own a lot of media outlets in small towns, right? Like Huntsville, Alabama, San Angelo, Texas. And what they've done is they've created a centralized programmatic team that can really capitalize on breaking news stories or stories that pop and can add extra ad impressions that get sold programmatically. And I think this is really important because you can never really tell when breaking news is going to happen. And you can't tell which story is going to get an outsized amount of traffic, right, from social media or Google or wherever. But what you can do is you can have the programmatic infrastructure that allows all of the possible ad units to be really sold so that you're capitalizing on all the traffic that you're getting.
And Chris, how much success have they had?
Yeah, they're actually seeing a good amount of success. You know, when you look at their digital revenue, they had a record $364 million in 2022, and that was 13% higher than the year before. Of course, not all of that is coming programmatically, but all of their programmatic revenue goes back into the journalism that they say is the bedrock of their business.
And what about the models in Canada? I know there's a big focus there on the importance of local media.
Yeah, I spoke with Sarah Thompson, who's the president of media in Canada for Dentsu. And she's a big local news advocate. And she is also part of the Canadian Media Directors Council, which represents 97% of the ad investment in Canada. And they've actually created a media manifesto in late 2021. And their goal here was to go from 19% to 25% digital media spend on local sites. And that could be big. I mean, and that could represent $350 million.
Well, thanks very much, Chris.
Thank you.
Next, it's not exactly breaking news to say AI, or artificial intelligence, is dominating the conversation. At an event this week in New York City, hosted by the Trade Desk, which owns The Current, ad executives gathered to hear the founder and CEO of the company, Jeff Green, talk about how AI is fundamental to programmatic advertising. He compared the buzz around the tech to that of the dot-com boom. And there seems to be little doubt that Cannes Lions 23 will be all about how creativity and tech can complement each other. For more on this story, go to thecurrent.com for a deeper dive. Next, our weekly roundup of what's making news across the internet. Chris Licht, the chief executive and chairman of CNN, is leaving the network after a bumpy 13-month run at the company, helped on his way by a devastating profile published in The Atlantic magazine. The article took a deep dive into Licht's tenure. He oversaw the demise of the costly CNN Plus streaming service, and on his watch, CNN had historically low ratings and suffered major layoffs. David Zaslav, the CEO of CNN's parent company Warner Bros. Discovery, informed staff of Licht's departure and said his tenure came at a time of great disruption and transformation. And finally, golf has become a geopolitical trophy. Well, that's how the New York Times put it. The PGA Tour and its Saudi-backed competitor, Live Golf, have agreed to merge into a new company in a move that's shocking many in the sports world, including many of golf's biggest stars. Both sides have been locked in a bitter battle which has spilled out across the media, the golf course, and into the courtroom. The deal is a major windfall for the PGA, who will receive billions of dollars in Saudi money. Now that the rival circuits are teaming up, corporate sponsors, advertisers, and media partners will likely have to decide how they want to respond with LIV's inclusion into the historically brand-safe sport of golf. And that's it from the Current Report. We'll see you next week. Until then, you can follow more of our coverage on thecurrent.com.